Fire me away.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I know Colm was a little for that little introduction there. No big deal. Oh, yeah, little Kickstarter for this one. But you might have seen these two lovely faces on the Euro podcast, but it's Manchester United aficionado. I'd rather see them in the FA Cup than England in the World Cup final. Dylan Rowe. And the man to his left on my screen, wearing the Eric Lindros shirt, probably the most overrated player in the NHL, and Mr. Callum Williams. Back-to-back appearances for the kid. Yeah, no big deal.
It's not like he's a friend of the show or whatever.
Yeah, no, whatever, right?
And
then to my
family
left,
friend of the show.
Probably will not shut up if this team wins the Stanley Cup final up until eternity. That is Mr. Malcolm Govia. Set the screen for me, my friend.
Oh, as you all know, everyone I know, including my own family, was hating on me, just not believing in this Montreal Canadiens deep team. They're all back. They're all healthy for the playoffs. They started out obviously coming in as the number 18th overall team in the league, right? That's never happened before in NHL history because you never hear about, because there's two teams above them who didn't make the playoffs overall in the league.
No, but didn't Nashville do that or something?
Nashville was a 16 seed and made the cup.
There is 16 seed. There's never been an 18 seed ever in the NHL playoffs. Tampa Bay obviously finishing 8th seed.
You're not making sense. What do you mean 18 seed?
Pardon?
You're not making sense.
Because teams in the West.
I know what you mean. Like 18th seed in the league.
They're the 16th seed. No, they're the
16th seed, but like the 18th seed in the league. You know what I mean? That just never happened. We're an 18th place team has ever
had a COVID.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's just never happened. So I'm telling you, it never happened. I'm just telling you, it's never happened. And it's never going to happen again after this season. Montreal obviously beating the Toronto Maple Leafs in 7 games, coming back from 3-1. Maple Leafs, like Callum likes to have this analogy, similar to England, where they're just choke artists. Can't win. They have all this talent on their team, and they just can't find a way to win. Cole Caulfield now has triple the amount of playoff series wins than Matthews and Marner's combined. Montreal obviously going to the second round, playing the Winnipeg Jets. The boys on pro clubs saying, "Oh, the Jets got this. The Jets got this." Colm knew the whole time. I knew it was going to be a sweep. I called it from the beginning. I just want to put that out there. 4-0 right away. And then we played the Vegas Golden Knights, Marc-Andre Fleury. He gave us a gift in game number 3. That was just...
That's a TSN turning point.
That was probably the TSN turning point of that series because Leonard came in. He shut the door. They won that game, but they went back to Fleury. They lost, and then they went back to Leonard, and they lost again. And then you have Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is defending champions. You can't deny that they probably have the most depth in the league, maybe due to some salary cap, a little scheming.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah, long-term IR. But let's just get to their series wins. They beat Florida Panthers 4-2. I think
series of the playoffs.
It was a great series. Yeah. Jay had Florida actually winning that one.
So did I.
Yeah, a lot of people did. I wouldn't have been shocked if that happened. And then obviously the Hurricanes they won in 5 games. Tampa Bay. I did not expect it to be that.
I had the Canes going to the Cup final.
Same. I had the Canes going further than Tampa Bay, so I was surprised that series wasn't closer. And then from the beginning, I remember being on a podcast with Jay and Mateus, coming out saying the Islanders are going to be the top of their division, and they were in a way because they made it all the way to the semifinals, and they took the Tampa Bay Lightning to 7 games. They just didn't want to show up though in Game 7. I don't know. I think they got sub 20 shots in this game, right? It was just not pretty. Tampa Bay put on quite the show, and then Vasilevsky, he got his 4th straight series clinching shutout, which is just unreal. You don't hear about that anymore. I just want to get right off the bat, what do you guys think of both these teams' successes throughout the playoffs and throughout the season? We'll go to Jay first.
No, hold on. No. We'll get the big hockey analyst still here up first.
Okay.
As a hockey expert, watched the total of 2 games this year. I think Tampa Bay just have too much sauce. Stamkos is just gonna ball up on Carey Price. You know, he's just got too much juice. Like, Prices look good so far, but you know, Stamkos is a different breed.
Yeah,
Well,
these
I don't
aren't
know
hot
about that
takes. I'll
analysis.
say that.
It's not a hot take. Yeah.
Whoa.
And they beat Florida Panthers. And I know Florida's known for its ice.
Yeah, it's a fair
What can I
shout.
say?
Ice
It's
on
not-
off the ice.
Florida was number 1 in their division, right? So it's not like that's actually a hot take either, because they
Oh.
were the best team in their division, and Tampa still came out on top in 6 games. So I'm not knocking any of those takes. Like those aren't bad takes
I would
whatsoever.
like to say, like me and Mr. Williams had this chat on the golf course this morning. No big deal. But the only player position-wise that should be getting paid 10 figures is a goaltender.
Yeah.
It's been proven with the Montreal Canadiens.
And Bergevin said it. It's like, I've seen too many people, like when he came out to sign Carey Price, when he first signed him to $10.5 million, he came and said, I see too many teams. They're lacking the goaltender position. It's such a hard position to find. They have him locked up, I think, until he's 38 years old.
Yeah, it's almost like Yasmina and Malcolm. Like,
It's like just locked, right? Just locked down forever, right? Exactly.
Oh, boy.
So he's down there. He's there for another
Stumbling.
5 years after this year. He's 33 now. He's there till he's 38. So they signed their franchise goaltender, and he's still playing lights out playoff price, right? He showed it in the Montreal series. He showed it in the Jet series.
I hope Price showed it in the Montreal series.
I meant Toronto series. I'm
Okay,
just excited. I'm still excited right now. Like, I'm just have goosebumps at the fact that the Montreal Canadiens, because I've never seen it, right? I'm like a newer Habs fan since I was born after their last win. And I've never seen them succeed as much as they're succeeding right now and the run that they're going on. So I'm just still super excited. You see, I still got the interviews going on in the background.
Yeah,
I'm
you look
watching
like
everything.
The EXO over there.
I'm BXT over here. I love his Texas takes, by the way. I love his takes.
Okay, so I think about this whole playoffs. Everybody knows I hate the Leafs with a burning passion.
Yep.
My bracket said otherwise. I thought that the Leafs were going to do it. I overthought it, didn't go with the heart, rode the Leafs, won series, thought the Jets were going to pump the wheels off the Leafs because I thought the Jets personally are the best team in the North this year. You got kind of Connor Hellebuck.
He's great goaltender.
Right? So, and Price, I always say it, goalie will steal a series. Price wasn't playing his game this year. He was injured. You can talk about whatever you want. This guy came into the playoffs, and I don't know if he said it to the boys or what, but he said he wasn't losing. I don't know if he walked in the dressing room and said, we aren't losing, or he just thought of it at home. But when you watch him, the guy doesn't show up to the rink to lose in these playoffs. The guy shows up, like, you can say what you want about Price. The guy has zero emotion. He's either hot or cold.
We had the same conversation on the golf course with a source to be unnamed.
Yeah. He's either hot or he's cold, but he's got the same emotions. Doesn't matter.
I was talking about when, like, his post-game interviews, he seems to be genuinely having fun playing.
Yeah, exactly.
He loves it.
And when I said it before, and I'll say it again, I think they should have kept Halak when I was in 2012,
2010.
Now you look at it.
That's 2011.
No, we looked it up. It was in 2012.
We did our homework.
What on the run they went against Philadelphia?
No, they played Pittsburgh and they played Washington.
Yeah.
And then they released Halak after that season.
Yeah.
And I thought back then that Halak was the guy. Like, he was sick, and he's proved it. He's proved it. He's a great goaltender. But Carey Price, holy shit, man, he's the next Marty Brodeur. We haven't seen a goalie that dominant since Marty Brodeur.
Gotta win a cup.
You gotta win a cup. But again, like these guys who have won, like, you go look at Marc-Andre Fleury, right? He's won 3 Stanley Cups.
He's only played in one of them.
Yeah, exactly. 2 of them he's got helped out by by what's his face? Matt Murray. And then the one, you have Sidney Crosby, probably one of the greatest hockey players of all time. Evgeny Malkin.
Crosby's fourth year in the show.
I'm just saying, I don't think Carey Price has ever had a team like these goalies have had in front of him. And he's tried to carry some teams, like in 2014 when he got injured against Chris Kreider. He was trying to carry that team. That team wasn't
I personally thought that team was a little bit deeper than you guys are now.
Yeah.
And I thought you guys would have made a better run in that season than you are this season. Yeah. And Chris Kreider really ruined your chances.
Exactly. And that was that was the season, right, where you won 4 trophies in a year. and he's just going absolutely ballistic. And then Chris Kreider comes in and is like, let me just take your knee out and we're going to go to the cup final and lose. So,
but you can't say that was on purpose.
No, I don't think. I don't think that play was.
Then people are going to call the Perry incident with Tavares on purpose.
Yeah.
So you gotta cut the Canadians a little bit of slack because they've gone through a Tavares-less Leafs. I will argue this until the cows come home.
Hockey expert likes to save his takes for pretty hot. I would like to hear your thoughts on the Scheifele hit.
On what, sorry?
The Scheifele hit.
I thought it was fine. I thought it was clean.
I'll argue until the cows come home. That hit is textbook. His shoulders drop. He slows down to make the body check because he wouldn't have been able to time it if he stayed on his full back check.
And why does he get 4 games?
My thoughts
are the league's soft and they want to get rid of contact.
It is true. The league does want to get rid of contact. And I completely agree with you there. I think they're just going towards that direction where they're not going to – it's going to be more just contactless hockey, just a bunch of skill and passing and stick handling. They want to get rid of fighting, obviously, too. And that's just not something a lot of hockey fans like to see. They people put respect. Like you see other like NFL players or NBA players putting respect on NHL players' names because of how gruesome and how aggressive hockey actually is. So and that's where hockey actually gets its respect from the aggressive.
I think with hockey hits and how you got to punish them, it doesn't matter if it's 19 minutes into the first period or if it's 60 minutes into the game. It doesn't matter when the hit has taken place. You got to call it all on the same line.
Yeah, they have.
I don't care. Like,
I disagree.
What you think that?
Well,
because the hit was at the end of the game, that it's suspendable?
No, that it's less. I say that's less because everything, like the game's on the line, open goal. He has every right to go and make that challenge.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it doesn't matter what the time is in the game. You can't look at the scoreboard. You just got to look at the body check and the play. And that puck isn't released. That puck isn't released 3 seconds and then the hit's made. That's finishing your check. That is quality hockey. And if I ran a hockey school, I'd say, yeah, this is how you deliver a check. You watch Mark Scheifele. And if you want to see how not to take a hit, lift your fucking head up. Who cares what color your skate laces are? And take the body check.
But we've seen inconsistent reffing, right? This whole playoffs.
Here we go.
No, I'm just saying.
We aren't talking about the refs.
No, but this is the hits too
in the league.
I know, but they even called the penalty on the ice. Like they got Scheifele out of the game there. So they called the penalty already. They gave him the match penalty. They gave him the game penalty. They didn't have to give him the game penalty. They could have just said, this is a charging penalty or this is like.
Well, it wasn't a charge.
I know, exactly. But they could. That's what they could have said.
What was illegal about the hit other than the time? Because that's all I've heard from people was that it's the timing of the check.
No, I think it was a hit straight to the head. I think, and if you look at the camera, I think it was a hit to the head, and I'm gonna argue that until I die. Like that was a hit to the head,
elbow tucked,
and there's like he doesn't get concussed if the shoulder doesn't come up and hit him in the head.
When he gets hit, it's his head off the ice and nobody has watched that. His head.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
His head goes off the ice, and that's what knocked him out.
I know what you're saying. Where like. When he made impact with the ice, that's when he hits his head. But I also think his elbow came up and did hit him in the head. Along with that, I think the actual ice, him hitting the ice, though, is what gave him the actual concussion. I don't think the hit gave him the concussion, but the fact that he fell down, hit the ice, that's what made him knocked out.
It's hockey. You hit against boards.
I know. It is what it is. It's in the past now. A bunch of people are going to argue both sides. We're going to get back into the actual Stanley Cup final here. I think we should get back into the final, not this Jet series.
But I think we did say sorry, a little off topic. We did say that Florida Tampa series was the best, but I think if Mark Scheifele plays in that series, that has potential of being the best series in the whole playoffs.
Yeah, it becomes way more competitive for sure.
Florida fans were on fire.
Yeah.
Dill said, right? Florida's got the ice.
Yeah. Like the big ice state.
A little bit of like there's some stories that have just transpired before the cup final begins. Obviously, we have Ducharme. He's coming back for game 3. I don't know how much of a difference that is. Something that I really liked because I'm from Ottawa, Luke Richardson. He took over for Montreal.
But he's a Habs fan.
Well, I'm from Ottawa, right? But Luke Richardson, he's from Ottawa. He's coached in Ottawa. He had the do it for Darren pin on him. I remember the do it for Darren movement ever since that started back like 10 years ago, I think it is now.
If not more, honestly.
And like when that happened, he's tapping the pin. He's still remembering her. I think that was just a great moment for him. And
I know I got the chills hearing that now. Like
exactly.
That,
like
I
just
love
that.
So
that. I didn't even know, like,
I didn't know.
He was like, even like one of the coaches there. Like, I just knew Alex Burrows. They never showed Luke Richardson on this TV. It's always Ducharme and Burrows. So I never really paid attention. It was behind the bench, but Luke Richardson was there too. And when he took over,
I got to give it to the Canadians because I remember growing up when I was playing hockey and our coach wouldn't be on the bench for a game. Your team's a mess. You guys aren't playing. Yeah, you're still playing for the same coaches that you see night in and night out, but the bench management by a head coach is night and day from an assistant coach. Yeah. So I guess it's different in the NHL. You can have all the technology so the head coach can let you know what to do, what not to do. But when you have a head coach tapping you on the shoulder and letting you know that you're going over the boards or whatnot, it makes the game a hell lot of easier than an assistant coach just sitting there and guessing. So I got to give credit to the Canadians there and how they've been able to pull it off. And
Ducharme's an interim head coach too. He's not even the head coach.
Yeah, that's the crazy.
They got rid of Claude Julien, probably one of the better coaches in NHL history. They got rid of him, said, you're not working out for us. Dominic's going to take over.
But the thing is, we saw it with the Blues 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are in the regular season. They were in 31st at one point. It's
they're dead last.
And the Canadians have gone hot in the right time.
Exactly.
They've turned it on, started playing some good hockey. And
well, what I think too is like all these injuries, they rested their guys. They didn't push them to come back in the regular season. Weber came back in time. Gallagher came back in time. Price came back in time. Those are like Gallagher, heart and soul of the team. Price, your best player,
funny, that guy,
and Weber's your captain, right? So you got you guys back in time. Right now we have Armia out. He's going out. He's been a big X factor for us, even on the penalty kill. But he's going to be out for game one due to COVID protocols. But getting to that PK, I want to hear Jay's opinion on this. What do you think? Who do you think is going to win this matchup? Do you think the Habs PK is going to win this matchup? Or do you think Tampa Bay's power play is more efficient? Because the Habs have won, I think, one penalty kill goal all playoffs.
Before you hawk in on this, Jay, is Kucherov out? Because I saw he took a hard cross-check in game 6, and I didn't notice him in game 7.
Played game 7.
He played, he played.
Okay, no, he's fine then. He's fine.
Ready to go.
But no, because he's big on that power play. So go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I think they're operating like 35% for their power play, which is ridiculous. I mean, they were basically automatic against Florida, basically automatic against Carolina. So that's pretty. But I mean, I say that again because Habs PKs are pretty automatic. 26 straight games allowing a power play goal, I think it was.
And we have 4 shorthanded goals, I think, this playoffs. Something like that.
Want to talk about fastest guy in the league? This is a hot take, but loves it. Paul Byron.
100%.
Dylan Larkin.
Get your heart out.
Dylan Larkin.
The guy's got the record. McDavid didn't beat him.
Oh, I think Paul Byron in that contest. I think he beats them both. So
here we go.
Never making All-Star weekend though. That's the issue.
Exactly. He's not making the All-Star weekend.
Yeah, right.
I have a hot take.
Let's hear it.
I was waiting for this.
You're saying that Montreal were blessed because they could rest guys during the regular season.
Yeah.
So what that sounds like to me is that they're only in the playoffs because of COVID. Because in a normal season where they're playing American teams as well, they wouldn't have rested their guys.
There's exactly that case where people. There's exactly that case where people are bringing it up. But why doesn't Vegas beat them? Why do these other teams?
Vegas should roll the wheels right off of that Habs team.
Your players are fresh now, though.
The Vegas were the second best team in the league throughout the whole season, and Montreal came in.
Vegas had to grind to get to Montreal. They've had to play 7 against Minnesota and 6 against probably the best team in the league in Colorado.
We have to play 7 against your so-called best team, King of the North, Toronto Maple Leafs.
Well, pretty boys, Toronto Maple Leafs.
Toronto Maple Leafs. We have to play 7 against those guys, come back 3-1 down. So I wouldn't say I like the hot take there, Dylan. I like the COVID. I've heard it. I've heard it all though. I've heard it all.
What happened in the next series? It was a sweep. Not 6 against Colorado, who won the President's Trophy.
But what Colorado got exposed for was having a lackluster defense who could box out the big forwards in Vegas. Montreal comes in, they shut down their top 6 forwards to how many goals? 2 or 3 goals throughout the whole series?
Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews got shut down by the Habs. Mark Stone gets shut down by the Habs. Top 6 forward on the Vegas, their first goal forget who it was. He was playing on the third line the night that he scored.
From a forward. Yeah.
So their top 6 forward, he's playing on the third line in Barries.
There were some.
You can't have those top 6 running. You aren't going. But to go back on that penalty kill power play point that we were talking about there, I've always believed in the playoffs, no matter the year, whoever special teams is on wins it. And I haven't really thought about that coming into this cup final. And
they're both on. That's thing.
That's who's going to win this. If Montreal can turn their power play on and keep their penalty kill how it's been, they've won it. And if Tampa can not shut down, but if they can expose that penalty kill and come out on their power play flying and just shut it down, because we know the Habs don't have a hot firing power play. Like they got a subpar one.
Big slap shot. That's what we have.
They got a subpar one, but it's not hot and scary, right? So if
their games,
so whoever wins the special teams battle is the team that wins this cup in my eyes.
So it's going to be Habs in 5 is what I'm hearing. So we're going to get down to probably the most exciting part for me as a former goaltender, or I don't want to say former because hopefully there's some intramurals this year so we can play. But we have Carey Price and Andrei Vasilevskiy, and it's going to be the first time since 1999 where 2 Vezina winners played in a cup final. There's been that one, I think in 2003 or something, where Brodeur played, but he still didn't win his Vezina trophy that year. So we have 2 Vezina trophy winners. They both have 12 wins each. So their backups aren't coming in where you've seen in Vegas or the Islanders, where Sorokin and Leonard came in, where these people had to change their goaltenders around. Their goals against average is only 3 points away from each other. Vasilevsky's at 1.99. Price is at 2.02. Same thing with their save percentage. Vasilevsky's at 936 and Price is at 934 save percentage. And then you have the shots against are like 559 for Vasilevskiy and 530 for Price. And Vasilevsky's also only played one more game than Price. And the significant edge, though, goes to Vasilevskiy because he's had 4 shutouts in these playoffs so far, where Price has only had 1. So it's going to be a complete 2-1, I think, type of games every single game. 1-0, 2-1, maybe the odd 3-2 game. But it's going to be just a complete goaltending duo. Who do you guys think is going to perform better?
Say that, but the Florida Tampa Bay series was high scoring.
Yeah,
it was.
So that Montreal has the same firepower as Florida in terms of scoring goals. So if you're lucky to get more than 3 out of Montreal in a game, but even if they do, it's an automatic win if they do. Because good luck trying to score 3 on Carey Price. Because I think it's happened twice.
Yeah. I say
there's been like kind of weird games.
I've always said, like growing up, if my goalie has 2 goals against average, he's done his job. If you can't score 3 in the forwards, you have bigger issues than your goaltender. And I also think when we're saying about their numbers and the save percentage and how Vasilevsky's numbers look better, you guys all know what the house is, right? The slot. The amount of shots Price gets in that slot or
ridiculous.
The crease is ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Tampa does a good job of keeping the guys to the outside and letting Vaz see the puck. Whereas
Montreal knows that Price will make those saves.
Price is getting screened for a lot of cross crease passes, right? So, and I've been saying it all playoffs long that as soon as the Habs score 3, the game's over. It's tucked to bed. Doesn't matter if it's in the first period. Doesn't matter if it's in the third period. Game's tucked to bed. Right as they score those 3 goals, because Carey Price only lets in 2. Like what Jay said earlier. What was it? The crazy 2 games, 1 game of Price letting in
2 goals, 2 games, I think. Yeah.
Almost against the Leafs, no big deal.
Yeah. Okay.
Crazy.
5 power plays in game.
So you score 3 goals, and if your forwards can't score 3 goals, you don't deserve the Stanley Cup. And so that's my take on the goaltenders there. And I think Price might win this battle because, like I said earlier, that he doesn't want to lose, and he came to these playoffs ready to win a cup. So,
and having Price in that, I think, is like having a goal ahead. I think the commentators even said that last game. It's like having a goal advantage, having Carey Price in net because of how good he is. Because he's
got the cooperators insurance with number
like,
31 in the back of the net.
Exactly. You're not gonna, if you can't score those 3 goals on Price, then it's just not happening. Once Montreal scores those 3 goals, Price is locked in, and he's making sure nothing's getting by him. He's doing everything.
You don't have to worry about scoring on Price. You got to worry about not letting the Habs score 3 goals.
Yeah, and which they could do with some of these younger guys, older guys. Everyone's kind of like generating, right? And like everyone says in the Stanley Cup playoffs, you need to roll 4 lines if you want to win the playoffs, and that's what Montreal does, right? They go up in the first period, they score 1 or 2 goals, and then they're able to roll their lines and keep rolling their lines. And once they do that, they're set for the rest of the game. If they're up and they score their first goal or 2, they're going to win that game because they're rolling their lines. They have Carey Price back there, and he's not letting anything get by him. So I think you got to Tampa Bay. If you're Tampa Bay, if you want to win, you got to be able to score first.
Yeah, that's a big one. Habs love playing the trap. They love making you ice the puck. Or make you go offside. It was all fair, but we had one of the boldest predictions I've ever seen in the history of the NHL.
What was that?
That Cole Caulfield is the second in coming of Alexander Ovechkin.
700 goals for his career. Watch out.
The only reason why I don't agree with you on any of that.
Nor I.
The only reason why I could never see this happening, but the only reason why I could see it is because if you watch Caulfield when he's on the ice, the guy's got no defensive sense in his brain. Like doesn't care about the D zone.
That's actually cap.
No, it's not.
First cap.
If you just go back to game 6, even just for game 6 of that Vegas night series, he's coming back on continuous plays, coming back, helping out in the defensive end.
Back checking is one thing. You're supposed to fill the
lane.
No,
like actually coming in, using his stick to get the puck away and creating a turnover to go the other way.
All he cares about is seeing when the Habs pick up the puck. He takes off. He draws the defenseman back. He opens up the neutral zone, and the Habs go through. If the D-man doesn't draw back, he grabs it, and he has a breakaway like we've seen. Or if you play right up on the guy, what did he do last game? Chipped it
over his stick.
Makes a foot race, absolutely blows this guy out of the waters. Hey,
that was nasty. That was disgusting.
Like, no, I'm giving him credit. The guy just thinks offensively and just knows how to drive the net, knows how to create time and space for his teammates. But like I've heard it from a few people. I never did. They agreed that he shouldn't have started in that Leafs series, right? Like they did.
I think he should have. I've said that from the
He's proven right now that he should have.
Yeah.
But they were all saying it's because he's a defensive liability. And I don't think he's a liability. I think he's just the next Ovi, and he's offensive minded.
And
he's
also
the next Ovi.
You want to compare him to Ovi? Ovi had some physical presence to his name.
Yeah, I know. And Cole Caulfield can't do that when at his size.
Caulfield couldn't punch his way out of a wet paper bag.
Like I see him try to go hit some guys, and it's like, man, why are you trying to go hit like some big boy like Mark Stone right now? Like,
anybody's a big boy to him.
Exactly. It's not gonna happen. He'll bump him a little bit, but he doesn't have that big body like Ovi does. Obviously, Ovi
the guy is Jay Murch is built but shorter. Like
you.
And you're in the league.
Thank you. I'll take that. Next time we St. Louis, I'll give you that comparison.
Pardon me?
I'll give you the Cole Caulfield is going to be like Marty St. Louis.
I never said that, but yeah, he is. No, he is. I could see that.
That will be my comparison.
What about Tyler Ennis?
He's not. He scored. If you bring up Tyler Ennis, I just think every time I hear Tyler Ennis, I think of a nasty backhanded no-look goal he scored against Carey Price, like 2 years ago. I just think about that. I hate watching that replay over and over because that was disgusting.
That's because Price is trash.
Yeah, that's why he's in the Stanley Cup final.
Might be Nathan Gerby-esque.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get to some X factors for each team. Obviously, Montreal and Tampa Bay, both their goaltenders, right? Like, there's no doubt about it that those guys are some X factors for their teams. I think going into this series, going into the finals, I think Cole Caulfield scoring 4 goals against the Golden Knights. He's kind of just he started scoring against Vegas, right? He got his first goal in game 1 where they lost 4-1, and they started lighting it up a little bit more, and he's got 5 assists too throughout the playoffs. Obviously one against the Toronto Maple Leafs on Nick Suzuki's OT winning goal there. So I think he's going to be a little bit of an X factor. If he can kind of turn it up and get going, then they have a really good chance at taking some like 2-0 leads in some of these early games. Again, for Montreal, I think the Danault line, like we said, they've just been able to shut down every single top offensive-minded player they face so far.
Too, but
pardon?
Cirelli is just as good as a shutdown center as Phil Danault is.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, I'm going to get to that too. I was going to get to some of that depth too for Tampa Bay. Back to Danault and Cirelli, right? Both good on faceoffs. Well, Danault really good on faceoffs. He comes in. I remember watching him in in the Toronto Maple Leafs series. He'd come on, take a faceoff. It's on his line, switched right away. He'd do that for every single faceoff. Ducharme would put him in. I know, like, Spezza's there too, but like Danault would come in, try to win the faceoff, and then get off the ice. That was his sole purpose, was just go win the faceoff and get off the ice as quick as you can. But like we said, Matthews and Marner, they were held to 1 goal. Vegas' top 6 forwards are held to like a couple goals. The Jets couldn't get anything done. They got swept because I just think this Danault line just shut down everybody. I see Dill here. He's kind of smirking after I talk about the Jets there. And then obviously for Montreal, they've been talking about this for the past few games as Montreal's big 4 on defense in Weber, Sherratt, Edmondson, and Petrie. And they were talking about how Bergevin said he could have went out, gotten someone to kind of complement these 3 guys, like in Petrie, Sherratt, and Weber, but he went out and actually got Edmondson to match the 3 guys and make just, I don't know, a super huge lineup. I think they're all like 6'3", 6'4" each, and they're just big bodies out there to get guys out of the way of the goalie, out of the way of like Carey Price's vision, just blocking shots. So I think that's great for them to get these 4 big guys, and they're playing a whole ton more especially in that first round, than the bottom 2 guys. And then for Tampa Bay, we have Braden Point, who 14 goals. 14 goals, bro. Like,
that stink.
What is he on? I want to hear your guys' opinion on Braden Point right now. Like, what is he on right now?
Hey, so I remember when Tyler Johnson went on that absolute tear, like 2014, I want to say, because it was last time Detroit made the playoffs. They had Ben Bishop in that. And I was at one of the last games in the Joe Lou playoff game, and Tyler Johnson went on a tear that whole playoffs. And like Braden Point's made a name for himself already, like without a doubt.
Yeah.
But like what he's doing these playoffs, that's Kucherov Stamkos-esque. That's what they need to be doing. But Point's a great hockey player. Like, he plays right. And the only reason why I could see Tampa winning is because 3 years straight for the big rig, Patty Maroon.
Patty Maroon, eh?
We haven't talked about him yet.
No.
And you're talking about depth players, and he just shot in my mind.
Yeah.
That guy gets it done in the playoffs. Like,
that's pretty tough. Like, the bottom 6 are tick boys.
Yeah.
And it's not hard when you're playing like 18 million over the cap, right? To have some really good depth. So
I don't want to see Tampa Bay win, but I can never hear you shut up about talking about the Habs winning. So it's just
I know it's kind of a lose-lose for both of you, eh?
But no, the thing is, like, the stuff that Tampa's bottom 6 do, like, yeah, you were saying that Montreal's rolls all 4 lines and whatnot, but their bottom 2, they've scored a couple of these playoffs, but they aren't lining up. It's Nick Suzuki setting everything up. Like, that guy's a wizard with the puck.
Yeah, he is. I can't believe Vegas let go of him, honestly.
Yeah. Well, Pacioretty, you aren't going to pick him up?
Yeah, that's true. And if I want to bring this up too, I'm bringing in Ottawa here. The Ottawa Senators had a chance when they were talking Erik Karlsson trades. They were going to trade Karlsson to Vegas Golden Knights. I think this just came up. I saw this today or yesterday. And Ottawa really, really wanted Cody Glass to be part of that trade. Yeah. And Vegas said, no, like, we don't want to give up Glass, but we'll include Suzuki. And Ottawa was like, no chance. We don't want Suzuki. It's Glass or nothing. again, it did kind of work out for Ottawa because they got Stützle and all these other guys part of that package. But what would have been if Nick Suzuki's in Ottawa instead of Montreal?
Cody Glass is unreal. Just for a heads up.
Cody Glass is good. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice field.
But okay, sorry.
Bill told me that.
I've always thought about this.
There's texture.
We're talking about trades and stuff. Let's go look at that PK Weber trade.
Look at that now, eh?
I really thought PK was going to be a star and a stud.
Same.
Habs lost that. Weber's showing out. Weber's showing his leadership. He's wearing that C proud. He's playing some good hockey too. Like, the guy's not the youngest guy on the ice.
I had some family members in Montreal said they're ready to stop becoming Habs fans because of trading PK Subban, just because of like his impact in the community too. Like donating 10 mil to the children's hospital. Like, how can you trade a guy like that, right?
But PK started out in Hamilton, which is baseball throw away from Jay and I.
No big deal.
And we've seen him, we've seen Price, we've seen a lot of the Habs come through the ranks, right? And it was cool to watch PK. Like, I have an experience with PK, and he was one of the 3 stars, and he came off and like said hi to more than half the fans pretty well. Like, PK was for the community, right? So that's why Habs fans didn't want to see him go.
100%.
But now you look at it, he's bounced around 2 teams.
He didn't make the Cup final the next year though, right? Like in 2017.
But they were playing Crosby, right?
Exactly. You're playing Pittsburgh.
And no, but then he's trying to play mind games with Sidney Crosby, talking about mouthwash and stuff.
Yeah. And
like, come on. Like, never, right? So Weber's being solid there. But back to this Nick Suzuki trade for Pacioretty really came back to bite Vegas in the ass because Suzuki absolutely lit them up. And like we were talking about little breakout parties, I think Nick Suzuki's had this playoffs.
Yeah, I would say the bubble was Nick Suzuki's.
Yeah, I was about to say, when he came out against Pittsburgh and even in Philadelphia, where they still lost to Philly, he still had a little good run there. And that's when people were saying, oh, he kind of broke out. He's going to come into his own.
He's showing that it doesn't matter to the time of the game. If it's the start of the game or the end of the game, they can rely on him.
Yep.
He's not a defensive liability. He's shown that these playoffs. And he's a great fit. And as not a Habs fan, but as a guy who likes to cheer on the Habs because rivals of my most hated team in the league, the Leafs, and like we said, the Dogs, right? I love seeing Nick Suzuki out on the ice. That guy can play. I'd rather him over Cole Caulfield. But Caulfield is a bit of a game changer, and that's why he's getting a bunch of minutes.
Caulfield will give you that spark. Suzuki will just be there anytime throughout the game, right? So he'll just be there. The plays that go unrecognized.
PK Subban is more of a household name behind the TV set on ESPN than he is on the ice.
Yeah, right now he actually is. He's with Stephen A. Smith, right? He's with Stephen A. Smith talking about the Stanley Cup Finals right now, comparing Carey Price. No, he's comparing Cole Caulfield to Trae Young. Yeah.
Who is the better fit in the NHL to be on TV other than PK Subban?
Exactly.
Like the personality's there, right? Exactly.
I'll never forget him doing this, talking about
Don Cherry
going, Bobby Orr, me and Domingo. My God, it's a great.
That was hilarious.
Clip. But yeah.
And then I'm just gonna get
the Habs have done it right this year, that's for sure.
I'm gonna get into some final rundowns here. Obviously, I think a lot of people know that Tampa Bay's just been lighting it up offensively. They're point leaders.
They'll be the first person to tell you that, by the way.
The point leaders for the
make sure he's the last one to get it in too.
I think you have, who is it? Kucherov's number 1 with 27. You have Brain Point, we've already mentioned, just insane with 20 points. And then you have Stamkos and Killorn tied for 3rd with 17, and Hedman's there tied for 5th with 16. You don't see a Montreal player until tied for 9th with Tyler Toffoli with 14 points, and then like we've said, Nick Suzuki, he has 13 points right behind him on Montreal. You have a bunch of other guys who aren't even in the finals who have more points than a bunch of the Montreal Canadiens. I just think that goes to show the depth of the Canadians, of how all 4 lines are able to produce. But at the same time, you have these guys in Tampa Bay all getting a bunch of points too. So
I would like to say the reason why is it so skewed is because these all players are on their power play.
Yeah, that is true.
And we were talking about accusations, whatnot, a little bit ago. Tyler Toffoli, guy's a playoff beauty. Like the Habs went out and made sure that they, like the Leafs were like, oh, we need some veteran experience. Let's go get Jumbo and Wayne the Train. No, you got to get a Tyler Toffoli, some guy that in Corey the playoffs knows where to be. Corey Perry's the same thing as Jumbo, Wayne.
No, but I think the difference between Perry and like the Jumbo stuff, and even with Stahl, is the fact that they've won Stanley Cups and they've made cup runs.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. Where Jumbo Joe, Wayne Simmons, these guys, Jason Spezza,
they're chasing.
They're still chasing that ring. Spezza obviously making it, Jumbo obviously making it to the finals as well before. But Perry, Stahl, Toffoli, they've made the cup finals and they've won the cup finals. So I think
Toffoli's not that old. Toffoli's that acquisition that solidifies. He's in the right position. He's like borderline what Justin Williams was when the Canes picked him up. Just a playoff guy that will get it done night in and night out.
Won a cup in Carolina before he went to LA.
Pardon me?
Justin Williams won a cup with Eric Stahl in Carolina.
Yeah.
That went to LA.
I'm saying when they brought him back recently, they brought him back to make that to complement Sebastian Aho and the rest of the boys, right? You need that guy that can solidify you in the playoffs, and he's just in the right position at the right time. And Malkin made a good shout. Corey Perry's honestly been more of that guy than Toffoli at times.
And I don't get me wrong, I've hated Corey Perry before he became a Montreal Canadian. One of the dirtiest guys in the league, right? One of those guys who just always gonna get under your skin, make some dirty plays.
That's not dirty.
Sometimes he can be dirty, or like just taking sticks out of your hands. You've seen it against Vegas, squirting water in your gloves, whatnot. Just little.
I'm pretty sure it's Perry, or it might have been Bobby Ryan. But anyways, I'm gonna tell a story like it was Perry. He some guy picked up his stick. They both didn't have a stick.
Bobby Ryan.
Was it Bobby? Oh, okay. Then story doesn't matter.
It was Bobby Ryan. But no, I'm gonna go to you here. We're gonna talk about some Conn Smythe odds.
I get the bet man himself.
Exactly. You're the bet man himself. Who do you think's gonna win the Conn Smythe, like the MVP of the whole playoffs? Obviously, I think you have Tampa winning, so it's going to be a Tampa player. Who do you think is going to win it all?
Stamkos.
You think Stammer? And Stamkos is one of those guys who doesn't have one of those higher odds because he's got the same amount of odds as Caulfield right now at plus 3,000 to win the Conn Smythe. Obviously, well, not obviously, but Vasilevsky's the favorite over Price right now because obviously Tampa Bay is the favorite to win the cup. So he's at plus 135, Price at 175, Kucherov at point. They're both at 250 each. Hedman at 2,000. And then, like I just said, Stamkos and Caulfield at 3,000. Then Suzuki and Toffoli at 3,500. Why, Dill, back to you. Why do you think Stamkos is going to just outshine Vasilevsky, Point, Kucherov, who all have just been playing, I think, better, in my opinion?
I think the experience in the finals just going to shine through.
But he doesn't have that.
He doesn't have it, though.
He played one shift in the finals
and he scored one goal last year.
But he was there.
That's clutch.
It is clutch.
Exactly. And he was in the dressing room, or he was somewhere around the team.
Yeah,
no, you're wrong there.
He's lived it. Even if he didn't play, he lived it. So he's just going to shine through. He's going to score hat tricks every game. He's going to destroy Price, show him up as a fraud. And
Stammer's coming in to just rip Price apart.
Free money on the.
Okay, so my question about Stammer last year is, I heard he had 2 goals in 2 shifts.
That's unreal.
I don't know how sourced that is, how accurate that is.
I thought it was 1 goal he got.
He got 1, game 3.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
So
sounds like efficiency.
Leafs fans want to complain about them not moving on and advancing. Tell me how Tampa wins the cup when you have your captain playing 1 shift.
Kucherov's pretty ridiculous, first of all.
Okay, Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews are scrubs then.
Yeah, they're just complete buckets.
Okay, first of all, they are in the playoffs. Second of all, the decor, I want to say, this season definitely proved my point, is that to go far in the playoffs, You need big, stocky defensemen, and not these skinny puck movers.
Like in Colorado.
Dustin Bufflin.
Okay, but I beg to differ.
Bufflin, exactly.
But Bufflin was playing forward, and I was about to say I beg to differ. Look at Duncan Keith and what he got to do with the Blackhawks.
Try to push around Duncan Keith.
Try to push around Drew Doughty, but try to tell me that those guys are big boys.
Yeah, they're
big boys.
They're big, but they're not big like the Montreal Big Four.
They get pushed around.
They aren't Hedman.
Victor Hedman's a stud.
I think Hedman, in my opinion, should not be in the Norris Trophy conversation this year. In my opinion, I think Cale Makar, Adam Fox, obviously in there too. But there's a bunch of other defensemen I think who've played better defensively. I think it's time we get rid of this. I just thought about this the other day. I think we get rid of this whole the best offensive defenseman should win Norris. Just make a whole other trophy for that. Call it the Bobby Orr Award or something like that to give it the best offensive defenseman. You have the Selke for the best defensive forward. Just do the opposite for the defenseman because you're giving it to John Carlson too, who he's great on offense as well. But I don't think he's as good as defense as a bunch of these other guys on defense. This year, I think the same thing. Cale Makar, he was good in defense, kind of didn't show up though in the playoffs against Vegas. He kind of got exposed a little bit. The whole decor did.
Graves, Gerard.
Yeah, but he did play great in the season, and the stats don't lie. The numbers are there that he played great defense in the season. So I think he's a lock. I think we got to get rid of this whole narrative that the best offensive defenseman should win the Norris. Like when you saw Erik Karlsson win it a couple times, even me, I was like, bro, I hate watching Erik Karlsson play defense.
Are you kidding me? Any team would absolutely kill anybody and their mother for Erik Karlsson.
No,
that guy locks up your D end. He solidifies your power play. He'll QB anything on the power play.
They should have done the same thing with Alfie, where they move him to forward. They should have moved him to. Alfie started out as a defense. Move him to forward, and he would have been better than he is now.
Karlsson can see better backwards than half the league can forwards. Man, you can't move that guy to a forward position.
You can.
It's shown in San Jose, man. The guy does make mistakes. But when he was in an Ottawa jersey, he was in his prime, and I personally think he could lock up that D zone like nobody else.
That pass to Mike Hoffman against Boston in the playoffs was the best pass I've ever seen live.
That was a nasty pass, hands down, over the top, and then just a little one hand across over took a rascal.
Little alley-oop action.
Yeah.
But Conn Smythe, my pick is Braden Point.
Yeah, I would think so.
I say if Tampa wins, it's Braden Point. And honestly, why not roll with Nick Suzuki? But
I love the whole Montreal Canadian squad, but if you don't pick Carey Price, if Montreal wins,
I was gonna say Nick Suzuki, but Price. When people say these days go Habs, they're really saying go Carey Price.
They just want Price to win a cup. If you're not a Habs fan, you're just wanting Price to win the cup. You don't care.
No, he's the whole team right now, right? So,
well, did he score all the goals though? So
here we go. They save all the goals.
But
all the goals he saved, yes, I've seen.
Exactly.
Yeah, like Price is the out and out Conn Smythe winner if Montreal wins it.
Yeah,
I'm going to go off the board and I'm going to pick Nick Suzuki.
It's not a bad pick either because Nick Suzuki has been there throughout the whole playoffs making plays defensively and offensively. So I don't knock your pick there.
Not
play the odds.
I don't know, but take it to the bank. Don't. I suck. My predictions are always brutal. I suck at fantasy. That's why I got a manager for the NFL.
Yeah.
But the boys, we will be bringing back some Fantasy Fridays leading up to the NFL fantasy season because that's going to be a rowdy one this year for the League of Idiots, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a great year for us. But that wraps it up for the NHL Stanley Cup preview. Pardon?
Predictions.
Oh, predictions? I thought it was pretty obvious who everyone's rooting for. Is it not Montreal?
In games.
Oh. Okay, we'll go Habs in 7 over here from Mateus. I'm not Mateus.
Are you kidding me? Yo, end the pod. End the pod. Reshoot.
Dill, what do you think?
Wow.
Tampa in 6.
Tampa in 6, Jay?
I can't stray with this guy. Can't stray away from him. Tampa in 6.
I'm saying Habs in 5. Not even joking around. Habs in 5 it's going to be. And you guys
Get the hail bales out.
You'll watch this.
Get the hail bales out. Put them on a wagon because Montreal's going all the way, baby.
Put them on a wagon. Italy's winning Euros. Montreal's winning the cup. That's all I have to say.
First one's a joke.
Casual.
Casual.
Hey, was I the only one having some casuals tonight or what?
No, don't worry about it. I got you there, Cal.
Hey, how are you? A little Ribena for the kid.
That kicks it off. All right, fellas. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Hey, it's been a slice, folks. Thanks for watching.
See ya.